Hey, I'm Mike Berlin with Slam Car Wash Marketing. Today we're going to talk about how to drive more business on site with your online presence. First, what do we mean by online presence? Basically, this is how your business shows up online. How does it look? What's it look like? How does it rank? What are you saying? What are others saying about your business? When somebody searches for the best car wash in town or car wash near me, how do you rank? What do you look like? I'm talking about platforms like Google, Facebook, Yelp, Instagram, Waze, Nextdoor. Online presence, it's a big deal. Here's some quick stats. 89% of consumers search online before visiting local businesses. 76% of searches for local businesses from a smartphone result in a purchase. And 61% of shoppers' purchase decision was influenced by social media. In the past few years, we've seen a huge shift in how people find local businesses. In 2019, 4 out of 5 consumers used search to find local businesses. How did we do it before asking Siri and Google and Alexa? The Yellow Pages? Traditional media is pretty much done. Websites, they rose to power for local businesses, but have peaked. In the car wash world, our website's main function is really to help us rank on Google and these other search platforms. Digital profiles are now king. 5 times more customer visits come from digital profiles than from your website. That means people search for car wash on Google Maps, Apple Maps, Alexa, Bing, Yelp, Waze, TripAdvisor, and they find what they need to make their decision way more often there than on your website. Now, I'm not saying you don't need a website. Your website is the hub of your marketing wheel. In fact, it affects how you show up on these other platforms. These platforms like Google My Biz, Waze, Facebook, Yelp, they're evolving. They're all trying to keep users on their platform. They track data and behaviors and impressions, so they allow customers to get all the information they need to make a buying decision without ever leaving. You'll hear them all talk about the best user experience. They want to give their user all the information right on their platform, so they really don't need to go anywhere else. Google My Biz, they're the king. They're trying to turn it almost into a social media platform to compete with Facebook. Google really started beefing up their platform lately. Did you realize that now for free, you can load up your car wash menu, you can make weekly posts, you can push out coupons, you can create and promote events. I know most of us now have our listing claimed, and you may have a logo or a few pictures on it, but I'd say most of us don't have it fully utilized. I know this because it seems like every month or two, they keep adding new features. Do a quick test. Pick up your phone, search car wash near whatever town you're in. See how you show up. You want to make sure people can get all the information you have. You should see photos. You'd be able to read the menu, get a coupon with a tracking code. You want to see pictures of the crew, pictures of the wash, check out reviews, see what upcoming events you might be having. You may even see a post. You can see if you're open today due to the weather. All of this you can find in just your Google My Biz listing. Not only that, but you can click and get directions and go straight to the wash. Now, Google is king, but they're all building their platforms out just like this. By the way, this process that I just explained, where the user clicks, looks at pictures, sort of sizes you up in an instant, that's what we marketing geeks call the buyer's journey. In marketing, we talk about the buyer's journey. Traditionally, it's like a 5, 6, 7-step process that a buyer takes with a business. Awareness is when they first learn about your business, and then the consideration phase is next. That's when they're kind of checking you out and finding out all the details of what you offer. The decision or the intent phase, that's when they're activated to make a move, click, or drive to your wash and buy. Adoption, this is when all goes well, you make them a happy, loyal customer. And lastly, advocacy. This is the goal to make them raving fans of your wash so they go tell their friends and post a good review. In the car wash business, the buyer journey still applies. Those principles are still intact, but as you can imagine, it happens much faster. Sometimes it can happen in about 15 seconds and just a few clicks. Let's dig into how we can use your online presence to drive more traffic to your wash. What does the buyer's journey look like in 2020, and what does that look like for the car wash consumer? First, let's start with a few stats. 97% of consumers check out a local business online before they visit. 72% of them rely on smartphones to find and select a local business. 50% of all searches are via voice. 98% of Yelp visitors purchase from the business they found on Yelp. Okay, first phase, number one, awareness. This is when you're first exposing your target audience to your branded content and trying to engage with them. Where and how do we do this? This is maybe a funny Facebook video that shows up with moms and kids having fun in the backseat of the car. Or it's a Google search that shows an employee wiping down a pay station screen with Lysol. Or perhaps it's buying your branded pen on Waze so that users navigate around town and they're reminded of your wash. In this phase, what we're trying to do is push our brand awareness out there, meaning we're trying to stay on top of mind of our customer. We want to remind our customers that we're here and that we're ready. Some examples of how to do this. Google display ads. Maybe you can sponsor your neighborhood on Nextdoor. Street signage, so when they drive past your property, they're reminded of you. YouTube ads are good. These are all places where you're making sure to get reach and impressions. We need to make sure your brand is present and well represented in all the places customers will look. If you're not advertising, let's at least make sure your business is listed on all these platforms. The most important is the Google beast. On the search side, Google, Bing, Yahoo, HotFrog, Maps, Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze, Here. Review platforms like Google My Biz, TripAdvisor, Yelp, Facebook, Instagram. You want to make sure you're included in all these directions, even the local directories like Zoom Local, Brown Book, and City Squares. When we advertise on Facebook and Instagram in this awareness phase, this is what we sort of call the top of the funnel. We do a first run ad just to see who engages with it. We'll run a creative ad and then track who watches that ad all the way through. If there's anybody that clicks or engages with it, we retarget those people with a more potent follow-up ad and push them to the next phase in the journey. Here's a quick stat. 95% of consumers look at the menu, photos, and videos before they choose a local business. Videos on a landing page can increase conversions by 80% or more. And 95% of consumers say they want to see the menu or photo in order to make their decision. Number two, consideration and decision. In this phase, the consumer knows who we are and now they're considering us. How they learned about it can happen in a bunch of ways. Offline, they may have seen your sign on their way home from work. Online, they might have seen one of our social media ads. They've thought about us at some point, and now we need to tell them why we're awesome. They're sizing us up in this phase. We should show them how modern and how cool our wash is, or how friendly our employees are, how clean, dry, and shiny we can get their car in our car wash tunnel, how fast and easy we'll make it on them, how we have LPR and they can leave their windows up and keep a safe social distance, how we have a VIP lane and they can skip the line when we're busy, or maybe we have towel and bottle service. It's where we tell them about all of our things. We show this to them with videos and photos, whatever makes sense for that particular platform. This is where we educate and activate them to buy. On the advertising front, this is where we're retargeting. We're showing them the math behind the unlimited plan and why it pays for itself if they just come in twice a month. Generally, we're marketing to people within a 5 to 7 mile radius. And if someone searches for car wash near me, Google knows where they are and it uses proximity as a major factor, so we can assume they're near us. They're in this consideration phase. Info like location, hours, menu, prices, pictures of your wash, pictures of your crew, posts that convey your brand personality, all this influences what they think about your wash. Make sure you've got great content and that it's consistent across all those platforms. Using your online presence, you can give them all the information they need to make a decision. So put yourself in the shoes of your customer and make sure you're crafting content that you can influence that decision. Here's a quick stat. 30 billion e-coupons were redeemed in 2019. 90% of consumers use coupons in some sort of way. And by 2020, mobile will account for 80% of coupons redeemed. Okay, phase number 3, let's talk about intent and purchase. Now we have a customer with high intent. How do we get them to actually pull the trigger, pull into the car wash, slide that credit card in the pay station? We need to offer them some sort of coupon or deal with some urgency behind it. We can make a post like an event, say it's happy hour from 5 to 8. We're driving their intent to actually act. On a Google search, if somebody searches on their phone, where's the car wash near me? Boom, they're already a hot lead. They already have high intent. The research shows that there's over a 90% chance that they're going to buy from us in the next 2 days. First and foremost, we want to make sure our business shows up in that top 3 results when somebody's within a 2-mile radius. They're looking for a car wash. This is why search optimization is so important, and you got to rank as high as you can. We want to make sure we're ready to give them all the info they need to come find us and give them a reason to come buy from us. Remember, sometimes this journey is happening in like 15 seconds at a red light from somebody on their phone, or maybe they're sitting in the car waiting for their husband to come out of CVS. Your presence on all these platforms is your chance to have their attention for 15 seconds with high intent to buy. You want to make sure you have all your information, menus, pictures, deals, all dialed in. When this buyer's journey happens so fast, the lines get a little blurry. For instance, in that 15 seconds from their phone, they're also checking out reviews. They could be looking at us on Yelp and trying to figure out if we're going to make them happier than the car wash down the street. First thing they're going to do, go to your star rating. Next thing, they're probably going to scan right down to a negative review and see how you responded. They're looking to see if you care. The big thing to remember is that when you respond to a review, you're making a public announcement. You're not responding to the person that left the review. You're actually writing something so that a week later when someone else is checking you out, they can see that you care and check out how you handled things in a good way. Quick stat for you, 90% of consumers read online reviews before visiting a local business. More than 50% of consumers won't use a business unless it has a 4-star rating or better. And 91% of millennials trust online reviews as much as a family recommendation. Okay, step number 4, loyalty and advocacy. They say that the number one reason people wash their cars is because it makes them feel good. Now more than ever, car washes can become a quick relief. It's something to do with bored kids at home, or it's a 3 minutes to ride through the car wash and just have a little me time. I know when I get back in my Jeep after I wash it, I look down at the floorboards and I see them all nice and clean, my tires are shiny, it feels good. This is where customers' experience can make or break all the work we've put into the buyer's journey so far. This is about great signage and great curb appeal when they arrive. It's about your employees smiling when they come through. It's about the equipment working, all the lights flashing, the foam, the smells. When they whip around into that vac area, the parking lot's got to be clean, the towels and vacs are sucking good. All of this matters in their experience. When we get all that right, then we can make them loyal customers. Our goal is to make them happy and make it really easy for them to tell others about it. You know, Amazon and Yelp have almost trained us to look at reviews. You know, we have all been burned by a cheap knockoff product on Amazon, or, we all check hotel reviews before we book. The major search and social platforms have all added ratings and reviews. We've kind of been trained as consumers to check reviews these days. Review management plays a huge role in building our online presence. It establishes trust and credibility amongst our customers. This in turn helps boost our online visibility and leads to more sales. Brag about your great reviews on your website. Hand out cards with a QR code. It brings them straight to your Google review page. Maybe ask them to text feedback to 59925. Tell us how we're doing. Monitor those reviews and create ways to turn happy customers into raving fans, local social influencers. Tell your customers, if you're not happy, tell us, we can make it right. And if you are happy, please go tell others. Let them know that your business relies on reviews. With a good online presence and the right tools in play, we can make it easy for a happy customer to become an advocate for us. You'll drive more traffic to your site if you build and maintain a great online presence. My grandfather, Buster Berlin, used to always tell me as a kid, you can't catch fish unless you got your bait in the water. If you'd like to schedule a free one-to-one session with us, please click the link on the event page. We'll join you with a video chat and a screen share while we scan your online presence and give you a report of how you stack up online. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back to Virtual Car Wash Expo. I'm Bob Fox with Sunday's Car Wash Factory and Car Wash College. Doing things live, sometimes you run into technical difficulties, as we just did. So if you tuned in a little bit late and you were expecting to see Mike Berlin's complete talk on marketing, we'll replay that for you at a later date. We'll send you out a date and a time. And we had just finished with Ryan Cook, and we're going to do the question and answer now for for both of them, both Ryan and for Mike's piece on the marketing. So feel free to fire questions on either topic that you have, whether it be ceramics, whether it be marketing. We're going to field questions on both. With us right now, again, let me introduce the panel again. I got Ryan Cook, Vice President and General Manager of Diamond Shine. I got Miss Katie Pierce, Senior Vice President of Marketing and Sales here at Sonny's Enterprises. Jim McClyman from Mr. Foamer. I got Robert Andre, who's the General Manager of Car Wash Services of the Southeast. Anthony Analetto, the President of our Equipment Division, and Mike Berlin of SLAM. So feel free to fire away any questions that you have. The panel's waiting on them. The first one we got is, I saw a sign earlier in the Foamer presentation that just said X3 ceramics. In a world where even some car wash owners are learning about this process, how do you best educate the customers on what ceramics is? Let's go to Ryan with that question first. Ryan.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that we're working on is some handouts for the customers that you'll just be able to hand to them. But I think really the key there is to talk about what the product does for their car. So I think and really that's it's going to be one-on-one, and some of it's going to be the customer actually seeing the results. So depth of shine, the way the water beads off the car. So really the first time they get in a rainstorm and that water just peels off the car, and then how much easier the car is to clean when they come in, the next time. And of course, as you continue to use the product, it continues to build, it makes it easier and easier to clean, and it makes the performance go up. So really it's just talking about those things with your customers, little handouts like that. I think it's going to be a real kind of to what Mike said in an earlier presentation. It's going to be tough to kind of convey that all on a sign as you're driving by.
All right, let's take that question over to Jim. Jim, with Mr. Foamer, what does Foamer have in order to try to educate the consumer on what the benefits of ceramic are?
Well, we have worked on, like Ryan had said, some of the handouts, for direct to the end customer. But really, I think it's also not about what they're going to get with the after effects, but also the experience they're going to get going through it. It's one of the things I liked about the 3-step process is it really accentuates the show. The first 2 steps are a high foaming, really great show where you can, utilize existing signage, change signage, do different things. But really, when you go through it, it's a great show on the car. And then when you get out, you get the end result. It's a really clean, shiny, wet look to the car, and super dry. So I think as you educate the customers, especially when you first start the program, I think you want to, I hate to say give away, but you really do. You want to educate the customers and put them through. And when they go through it, they feel and see the difference going through, and then with the end product.
All right, Mike, let's go to you on this question as well, being in the marketing side of things. How do we educate the consumer once they're on the property of the benefits of ceramic?
We're showing it as a total game changer in shine and all that kind of stuff, but it's also protecting the resale value of your car. It's protecting your investment. That same angle that we might talk about in some sort of wax protectant when you buy a new car. It's the same narrative there. It's the shine, but it's different than a wax is how we're positioning it. It's something that's in a whole nother class.
All right, Ryan, back to you. How many mLs of Sonny's ceramic product is used per application on average, and what is the average cost per application?
So, we're typically really in that 20 to 30 mil range on all 3 applications, depending really on track speed. But what we're doing is we're shutting off. So when we turn on ceramic 1, we're shutting off the fusion seal. We put on ceramic 2, we're shutting off fusion wax, and we put on ceramic 3, we're shutting off the drying agent. So depending on track speed, it's anywhere from 30 to 50 cents additional cost. But again, that's why we're getting those great results, and we're also charging $5 for it.
All right, good deal. Question for Mike Berlin. Mike, how do you handle Yelp? It's so poor, they show bad reviews more unless you pay them.
Man. I think the main thing to think about when responding to reviews is take a deep breath, drink some water, and respond like it's a public announcement. Use it as a chance to be a marketing piece. Remember that you're not talking to that person that left you the review. You're talking to somebody that's going to check you out in a couple days that has no idea. And I think that mainly what reviews are is showing people that you care and you're engaged with your customer base.
Robert Andre, as a car wash operator, how do you handle bad Yelp reviews?
I think what Mike said is good advice. Typically you don't want to get into a public, argument with people on there. So you got to be careful how you respond. A lot of times, if it's something that I don't feel is legitimate, I don't respond. Sometimes no response is the best course of action, depending on what it is they're saying.
All right,
Robert, I used to think that most people realize when they read a real crazy person review, they kind of get it. But just for the sake of Google and search results, I would try to respond to every review, the positive and the negative. And just be careful with automated responses. People really get PO'd when they know it's a robot responding.
Right.
I think automated responses are great for positive reviews. You can load up about 20 different thanks for the great reviews and fire those out. Because one of the things Google is doing now is measuring how fast we respond to our customers' reviews, and they're using that as a factor when ranking us and how we come up when someone searches car wash near me on their phone.
Hey,
Okay.
Mike.
Yo.
What can you give an example of what you would respond on a very negative review that you think is unfair? Like, what's some language that you might use?
Sounds like we missed the mark on your experience. Please give us an email or give us a call at this number. We'd love to learn more about what went wrong. So I'm trying to get them offline and off that public forum as fast as possible.
And direct them back to the store.
Direct them to an email address or a phone number.
All right. Question for Ryan, Jim, and Katie. If you're adding ceramic to an existing site, what pieces of equipment are you looking at adding? Is it possible to use your existing setup? Ryan.
Yeah, so we don't typically we say you're going to have to add, and really what you're going to need is 3 different applicators, and obviously we recommend the Mr. Foamer ones. We want to do streams and then a rain bar for the last one, and then you're going to need a pumping station, some kind of delivery system to get the chemical out there. So right now we recommend dosatrons because it's a nice, easy setup. But and then you're gonna need some signage and some lights. So and I think Jim can kind of go into detail on the specific ones, but that's there is a little bit of equipment that's needed there, and we do have packages available to make it easy for you.
Jim?
Yeah, so basically, Ryan covered the main dispensing pieces of it, but the reality of it is as far as the size of your tunnel, I think we can get it in just about any tunnel. I've had some customers reach out to me that want to do it, and they said, well, I've got a mini tunnel, I can't make it happen. That's not true. If you've got a 120 footer, or a little 53 footer, or whatever you have, you can make it happen. You just got to get a little bit more creative. But yeah, you're going to be adding in some dispensing. We're going to add in the pumps. If you have extra pump, pieces we can use on a Hydroflex or anything else, well, we can make it happen for you. But yeah, you're going to have to add a few of those pieces in. And then typically you're going to want to add in the purple lighting. One of the things that really sets it off, especially on our particular brand, is the purple lighting. It really just blows it out, gives you a great experience coming through. So, and a lot of those you might be able to tie together, as far as the functions go. You can put the lights with the signs and that and get creative with it. So it can be put just about anywhere.
Katie?
The only thing I would add to what Ryan and Jim just talked about is, don't skimp on the marketing side of this. That's really key to getting it off the ground quickly at your wash and getting people to try it. So, putting in the lighted arch in the tunnel, I know that's an expensive piece, but I think it will well pay for itself quickly from a vision perspective of both the customer who's buying it and the customers behind them in the tunnel. So I would definitely recommend that you do that. And if you're really tight on space and budget, at least go with some small fixture, lollipop style signs or something, just something to show them that there is something new and different going on. And also we have to, don't forget the signage in the driveway. So some new gate arms or some new, the antenna signs in the driveway. So you really dress that up and kind of blanket the entrance with the new ceramics.
I don't know if you guys can see what I'm holding up here right now, but this is our giveaway for this afternoon that we're going to give this away. This is our ceramic 3-step ceramic proposal option 2 with the grand entry or the grand arch, the foamers that you need, the dosatrons and everything else. It's a $20,400 value. We're going to be giving this away at the end of the day today. So stay tuned for that. All right, let's go back to our questions. All right, another soap question. My goodness. On an average year wise, how often should you upgrade your tunnel soaps, Ryan?
So say that again, on a yearly basis, how much?
On an average year-wise, I guess how many years should you run one particular soap and then switch to another? How often should you upgrade your soaps?
Yeah, well, I think it's one of those things that you want to produce a really good, consistent product, and I think that, but you also want to kind of keep up with your competition, and I think that that's a big piece of it, and you want to keep driving value to your customers. So, I mean, in the past, I think you could probably go 5-6 years without having to make any major changes at your car wash. I think with the way things are moving now, if you're not looking at making changes once a year, at least looking at making changes once a year, you're probably falling behind the times, and your competition's going to pass you up.
If I could, and Bob, if I could add to that,
please.
Sometimes when the chemicals are really good, there is no need to change the chemistry. But with Jim at Mr. Fulmer and some of the things he's created, if you haven't embraced some of the new ways to apply the product on the car, that's a huge benefit uplift. The customer perception from inside the car will see something's different. It could be the same cleaning solutions, same waxing products, but just applying them in a different way just changes the look and appearance and makes everybody think you did a whole lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think even just to jump in there, we've seen so many times, and it's what gets us, super excited on the dispensing side is some of these small changes, going to a V or going to the stream or going to a sheet or, from a customer's perspective, they see it as you just invested a ton of money, where you really didn't, so you need to keep it fresh and try different things and move things. So.
I'd say to dovetail with that is add a little video in the pay station or change those visuals on your LED menu to show them this is brand new. This is our new thing,
All right.
And I wanted to chime in something where Katie went in, sorry, but when you talk about the ceramic, when you're charging $5 for something, your ROI on that, if you do it right and you put the effort into the marketing piece, it's amazing, so you cannot skimp on that. If you're going to raise that to $5, and as Ryan said, the cost is negligible compared to what you're giving to that customer. So just really make sure you push the envelope on that.
Fair enough. All right, question from Mike Berlin. Mike, Susie from Springfield's asking if 50% of all searches are done via voice on smartphones. If I have a unique spelling of my car wash name, will it still come up in the search? For example, if I spell Suds, S-U-D-Z versus S-U-D-S, or if I spell Quick, K-W-I-K versus Q-U-I-C-K, does it still come up on Google?
One of the things that you're doing is you're measuring and you're ranking on certain keywords. So you can actually watch your performance on the keywords, and using Google Analytics, you can decide, or you can tell what are the words people are putting in order to land at my site or to find my listing. Obviously there's obvious ones, but when we load in keywords into an online listing, I'll even put car wash with no space or car space wash, and I'll write it out, Monster Express car space wash. You're going to want to measure all of those keywords and track the performance of all those keywords. If you spell it with a Suds with an S and Suds with a Z, come up with every variation you think someone would punch in to find your car wash, so you can measure and see what most of them are using. And that will influence how you push your brand and push your messaging out there. Another little dirty trick we do is I will also track my competition's car wash names, and I want to see how many people are looking at their car wash name and stuff like that. So it's all based off of the keywords that you're tracking and keywords that you're vying for. And if you're placing ads, you're buying those keywords as part of your effort.
Makes sense. All right, back to soap. How far apart do the steps need to be, or do I need to rinse in between the steps? That comes from Paul in White Springs. Ryan.
So we don't recommend rinsing between the steps. We want to layer them right on top of each other, and really they can be fairly close. I mean, I think if you, as long as you have, a few inches, like a foot or more is ideal. And in most of our tunnels, because we're kind of, still getting in with the fusion process, most of the ones we're running now, we have anywhere from 3 to 6 feet between the steps, but and even a little bit more in some of them. But they'll work if you're if you're a foot or two apart.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess this goes with that same question. Will ceramics lock in any remaining dirt left on the car or the wheels?
Yes.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's really important to get a clean car.
Okay.
And then, and now, that's part of the reason we wanted to go to the micronized silicone, though, is that it can be cleaned off. It's going to be challenging because it's designed to be durable, but it's not the same thing as if you were to get like a professional ceramic service that's going to last, a year plus. And you weren't to have the car perfectly clean, then you'd really be in trouble. But with the current chemistry, we can correct that if we need to.
All right. Mike, back to you. How do I fix a bad Yelp review? Bill, AKA Baltimore Bill, wants to know. Bill from Baltimore.
I think this is similar to the other question. It's not about fixing it. It's just about making a nice public response to tell everybody that you care and that you're engaged with your customer. First thing I would do was, just say, hey, look, sorry you had less than a great experience at the car wash. We'd love to learn more. Everybody loves for people to be engaged and inquisitive and curious. So give us a call or email us and let us find out more about the situation. And you want to pull them offline and pull them away from that public forum and don't get in sort of an answer to that direct person. Think of it as you're making a public announcement to a person a week later who's going to search and check you out online.
Mm-hmm. All right, another soap question. Ryan, how does ceramics fall into the fusion process? Does one negate the other?
Yeah, so for us, it's an addition to. So we want you to do the fusion process, then create another package above that is what we recommend. And that's what we were talking about a little bit earlier, is that you shut off during the ceramic process. We shut off a couple of the fusion functions, the seal and the wax, and then we also shut off the drying agent, and then we put in a ceramic step 1, 2, and 3 in place of that. So that helps offset some of the cost, but it also creates that kind of next level package for you.
All right, I got another question from Mike, and then Anthony, I think you might be able to answer this as well because you just purchased a wash. What if I purchase a wash that has a horrible reputation? How do I fix that?
I would shut it down online, Google My Biz. I would go ahead and close that listing and start fresh. A lot of folks come to us and they want to see if they can use some of their previous reviews and stuff like that. I'd say if you're less than a 4.5 star, you're better off just closing that listing. You can go online and mark the business as closed and come fresh right out of the gates with the new brand.
Anthony, is that what you're doing with yours?
Well, we did. We actually, we bought the name, we bought the website. So we had something to start with in the platform. So we did keep it running, and we were responding to the customers questioning about where the prep guys go, why no prep. And we did 2-step remodels. We did I think we had about 600 club members at the site. So we did a 4-day shutdown to do the main wash part of the equipment. And then a month later, we did another 4-day shutdown to do the dryers and the pay stations and the full controls unit. And it kind of went well. We had a lot of people complaining about the 1 week of not being able to wash. Mm-hmm. So we were doing credits and we were handling those people on site. And like Mike said, as they called in or they went online and complained, Anthony invited them back to the store and we gave them credits. We took care of them right away. So it was a challenge. We actually canceled about 70 members after about 3 weeks that hadn't washed in 2 months. And we just turned them off. Instead of collecting money and just letting it come, we turned them off. And we've since then probably recouped well more than that in 4 months. So we're up over 600 members. So we didn't, I don't think we lost anything, but it was a challenge to make them happy. As my son was new into the customer service side, he said, this is pretty easy. Just give them what they want. If they're not happy, give them a credit for 1 week, give them a free car wash. Just do whatever it takes to make them happy and ask them what that is. And usually they'll ask for less than you want to give them. So far, so good.
Fair enough. Jim, you're doing the same thing. You're in the same boat. You just bought an old wash and you're redoing it. What's your thought on it?
Well, I'm smart enough to hire Mike from Slam first off.
Okay, well, I got to answer that
I
question.
mean, no, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know how to make the brand and I can make all the cool mascots and all the fun stuff, but ours is a 33-year-old full serve. So we're just getting started on it. So what's going to be fun, and I actually have already had the Slam guys out. We videotaped it. We're going to be the fourth owner of this particular site. So it's going to be fun. But yeah, we're basically, we're abandoning the previous anything. I don't want to be associated with anything that was there previous, even though some of it was good in the early years. And but no, we're abandoning it all, fresh new start. And I'm excited, nervous to see, you know, how the transition goes from a full serve of 33 years to an express. But we're going to be utilizing all the geofencing and all the stuff I really don't understand. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
You don't understand geofencing? Where have you been all your life, Jimmy?
I'm
car
learning
wash.
I'm just a silly old car washer, Bob. Come on.
Bob, isn't that orange fence they put up before construction starts?
That is geofencing, yes. All right, back to Mike. Mike Berlin. Mike from Missouri asks, what's the #1 way to move up into the top 3 on a Google search?
The #1 way, well, you could throw money at it. You could.
That
You
usually
could
works
buy-
for a lot of things.
You could buy ad placement. I would at least do some base level optimization before I went and spent money on that. And I think what typically you'll find is if you do some basic SEO, basic Google My Biz optimization, you may end up in the top 3 without having to spend any money. It depends on what your competition is doing and if they're spending money. But the short answer would be throw money at it.
Robert Andre, as an operator, how important is it to you that you stay in the top 3 of your Google search?
I think it has a lot to do with your demographics, where you are in you know, the type of model you are. But I haven't spent a lot of time on it. Again, I'll be working with Slam and seeing the benefits and how it helps the business grow. So I'll be able to tell people, you know, from a business that's done very little that's going to start actively doing some of that stuff. I'll be more than happy to let people know how it goes.
All right, Ryan, one more for you. Someone have something to do?
I was just going to let Robert
Go ahead, Mike.
You have somebody within a 2, 3, 5 mile radius of your car wash, and they ask their phone, ask Siri, hey, where's the car wash near me? The intention of that buyer is really high. You want to make darn sure you're in the top 3 because now you have someone in your market location around your wash looking for a wash. You want to be in that top 3.
Makes sense to me. All right, back to soap. Is there a single step, Ryan, or do I have to use all 3 steps?
So we are coming out with a single step, and I think that, you know, and it will be the right choice for some people. We really did it for MBA automatics and really short tunnels that have tremendously limited space. But we understand that some folks, it might be the right choice for it. It's not going to deliver the same results that 3-step does, and it's really simple. It's just hard to pack all that performance into a single product. And we're very excited about it. I think it's going to be an excellent product, but we don't think it's going to have quite the durability that the 3-step process is going to have.
Gotcha. Ryan, sticking with you, how many car washes use hot water, and how important is it to the effectiveness of the chemicals and the cleanliness that the customers see?
So in tunnels, it's not very many. You know, it used to be quite a bit more. It used to be something I dealt with quite a bit in my early parts of my career, especially where guys were doing touch-free washes. But you've seen a lot of people get away from it. I still think it has a place. I think the problem with it is we go to these chemical boards. You know, it's really hard to kind of divvy up the water because you have to have a separate pump and all that kind of stuff. But we can do that with dosatrons. We can do it like a chemical concierge, that type of thing. But that's the other thing too, is there's some heat tolerances on that stuff as well. But there are some things like CTA, pre-soak, drying agent, where it would have a tremendous benefit to still heat the water.
Any of you operators heating your water? Of course, we're all in Florida, so that would probably be a dumb question, would it not? Anthony?
We did in the past, when I was in the Northeast and Midwest, when I was doing my Wash Depot days, we used a lot of hot water, especially for the pre-soaks. To help get them more active and clean better. And we always had a tempering valve on our drying agent for the wintertime. We may not have used it during the summer, but when it got really cold out, down in the low teens and and one plus, we would actually temper that water back up to about 70 or 80 degrees. And it was like having 3 more sets of blowers. That's how good it was. So I think there's still a lot of value to it. And in our market, we got to get the solar. And if we start using some solar, we can heat up just enough water, whether to enhance the waxing or the drying process, or just even, turbocharge the soaps at the beginning.
Would you use it year round down here in this type of heat and humidity, or just certain times of the year?
I think I'd do it. I'd go along with what the temperature is outside. If it's already going to be 100 degrees or 90 outside, you probably don't need it. You wouldn't need it in Phoenix, Arizona, or those climates. But when it gets cold, the night times, it's just, if it can automatically switch over, it's certainly worth having on board.
All right. How much does heated water have effect on the drying of the car, Ryan?
No, it's just what we were talking about. It's tremendous. I mean, it's really makes a big difference. And if you've never seen it, especially in a cold climate, it's definitely a game changer. It's like turning on a light switch. And we actually had a car wash. Ground temperatures around the country vary. You can actually go online and get a chart if you're if you got nothing better to do. But it does change quite a bit around the country. And we actually had a site actually here in Colorado that the water coming out of the ground was so cold that we actually had it literally nothing worked. I mean, the products, we got just Car Wash has been happy with our products for years and years. Called us and said, hey, we're having huge problems. We went up there. The water coming out of the ground there was like right around 38 degrees, and we ended up having to heat all the water at that car wash up to basically around 50 degrees to get the products to work. So there's no doubt about it. It's kind of 8th grade science. Heat equals activity, and drying agent's one of the key products that you could heat.
All right. All right, back to Mike on the marketing side of things. When Mike says street signage, is he talking about some kind of virtual street signage or physical street signage? What is this?
Oh, I think I was talking about in my presentation of some of the things that keep your brand top of mind. And so one of them in a physical world would be your street signage. Part of what we're doing when we talk about a consumer's journey or a buyer's journey is at the top of that funnel is brand awareness. You're just trying to introduce your brand to them in some way. You can do that online with Facebook posts and ads. As you get down in that funnel, their intention to buy gets stronger. And so how do you keep your brand or keep your message and keep yourself top of mind to your customers? You can do that online, or you can do that with signage as they pass in front of the street. I think one of the things you got to be careful of is that a static sign becomes noise after a while and people stop seeing it. So you either have to refresh your brand, refresh your sign, or maybe throw up digital messages, stuff like that.
How often? I mean, a sign, especially your street sign, huge investment. How often should it need a refreshing?
I mean, I would go ahead, Anthony.
I would love to jump in. I've been doing this now since my first 2 car washes over in the West Coast. We ended up going, I really wanted to have a sign that had the $3 or the 3 minutes so I could actually change it. They ended up doing a embossed face where they take a Lexan and they actually shape it. Once they do that and they back paint it, it's hard to make any changes to it. Yeah. So after the first go around the changes, and I only did it because another competitor, not that far away, copied my sign exactly to the T. So when he did that, we didn't want to be caught up with the same brand. We didn't want to be associated. So I took it upon myself to change them. And that's what I learned about a flex face sign. Flex face sign is basically painting vinyl, the vinyl stretched over a frame, and it is a third of the money of putting a face up. So I just redid the signs at the new car wash. Took down the plastic embossed signs, went flex face, very luminescent. At night, they glow. They look fantastic. They look great during the daytime. And in 12 months period of time, I may change the total color background. Not so much the physical sign and what's on it, just change the color. So it attracts somebody else's eye, gets another pop from someone that passes the by every day. All signs become white noise when we're on that same commuter road every day. So anytime we can do something to differentiate, like an LED reader board, which we did add to this one, that's known to add up to 10 to 15% volume. Just got to keep it active, keep it current, keep it busy, and it's got to be something different to look at every time they go by. They want to look for it. You want to make them look at you.
Robert Andre, you've been down there at Liberty for what, about 10, 12 years now? How many times have you refreshed your signage down there?
Well, we've refreshed the signage quite often. I mean, one of my pet peeves is if you go to a car wash and they spend a lot of money on nice, signage and stuff, but then you get season and a half out of a lot of that stuff. It starts to fade and look nasty, and it starts to be counterproductive. So even if we're not upgrading the look, which typically we do, we'll go ahead and replace the signs anyways, just to everything looks fresh, crisp, and new. And now my street sign, I think we've only changed that maybe twice since we've had it. But the other Windmasters and all that signage around the property, we do that quite frequent to keep it fresh and new.
Yeah, there's nothing that makes me think a business doesn't care like having dismal signage on their property. Like it's been so sun faded and beat up, and they just don't bother to change it because I guess everybody develops a little tunnel vision, pardon the pun, but you drive on the same property every single day and look at the same things, you don't see it as much. But as a consumer, it's very noticeable.
So,
All right.
Bob, just to add real quick, one of the things I used to teach my managers back in the day was to park across the street. So on the way to
Right.
work, instead of going straight to work, grab a cup of coffee, park in the parking lot across the street and just look. And look at your site from a customer's eyes, watch people pull in, watch how they slow down. I stand outside and watch their eyes. I want to see who's looking at my sign. I want to know how many make a U-turn. But you got to see what it looks like from the other side of the street if you want to fix it or make it better.
I like that. I used to do that myself. All right, let's go to Katie. We haven't gone to Katie in a while. I apologize, Katie. How important do you place exterior site planning as far as landscaping? I'm trying to judge how far to go, how much to spend on landscape. This is from Andy with Easy Express.
So landscaping a lot of times will be mandated by your local municipality. So you definitely want to check with them and see what the requirements are before you do too much or too little. I think landscaping is important because, we're looking for anything that's going to grab people's attention as they're driving by on the road at, 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, depending upon your traffic speed in front of your location. So anything that you can do to make it nice and attractive is going to be important. The other thing to keep in mind when you're planning your landscaping is the long-term maintenance of it. You're either going to need to pay someone to keep it nice and neat, or you're going to need to do it yourself. What I've learned in my years of running car washes is that most car wash people don't make good landscapers. So if you just think you're going to have your guys take care of it themselves, you might think twice about that. A lot of times we went with kind of a low maintenance approach. So use a lot of rocks. You still want to use, beautiful plants, but grass is a lot of maintenance. If you have a place that looks kind of run down because you're not maintaining your landscaping well, that's going to make people think twice before they pull into your car wash.
Agreed. In the business of cleanliness, I think the entire appearance of the properties is vitally important as well.
It's crucial.
Jim and Anthony, when you guys are doing your remodels up there, how much are you spending on landscaping? And what are your goals? Anthony, can you move your mic up a little bit higher so we can hear you a little bit better?
I'm sorry there. It's
Thank
a little bit tangled up, but we'll try to get here. That better?
Kind of looks like your office, but yeah.
It's a little bit tangled up.
If you'd like, I can go back there. That's not a problem. I can tell you, landscaping is hugely important. Sometimes it's not your landscaping that's important, it's your neighbors. The site I just bought was invisible from the southbound side of the road because there was an oak tree in my neighbor's yard that was about 80 feet wide and 100 feet tall, and it just blocked the whole building. On day 2 of my ownership, I made a relationship with the pastor next door at the church. Come to find out, they were a little short on members, so I offered to trim the tree and trim all of his trees on the property. So on day 2, all of a sudden, I had more visibility than they've had there in years. At the same time, in 7 years, there are some palm trees that have grown quite beautifully, and they now are tall enough to block the words car wash that are 2-foot block letters on the side of the building. So they need to be exchanged now for a younger, more youthful looking palm tree so we can maintain it. But there is some beautiful ground cover. Like Katie said, it's not grass. It's a durable ground cover that gets weed whacked every week. It doesn't overgrow. It doesn't die. It's very robust. But the bushes are manicured, but they get done every week, whether it's been raining or sunny. And it keeps it looking like somebody cares about it. I think it's really important. But the right size trees in the right places can make your site look good. The right size tree in the wrong spot in 5 years will give you nothing but a problem. So what I've learned in my other sites, when it comes time to landscaping, the city has a bunch of requirements. They'd like it to
Right.
be all lush and plush.
Mhm.
And your landscaper would like to put all the trees that they request on the property because they'll get paid that way. But if you go down and negotiate an oak tree for a palm tree, a crepe myrtle for something taller, or a scrub oak, you'll be able to manicure your site and have it visible during the most important times. So you really got to get involved by yourself with the city and the landscape planner to do it right.
Jim, what are you doing as far as your new location goes?
Yeah, so we've got a large property. We're 1.7 acres. So thank God there's not too much green because it's an old site. But we're actually just getting started with it. So we don't have a budget in mind quite yet, but we're going to keep it very lean and mean. Just, you want it, when you want to pull up, everything needs to look clean. Same thing with somebody we're talking about earlier. You're a car wash, whether it's going to the restrooms or going anything, everything needs to look clean and neat and well thought out. So we're just getting started with it. We've got some nice areas. We'll do some palms. It's got some older stuff that we're going to take down, but we're lucky enough where we don't have a lot in front of the signage, but that front area, it needs a lot of love. So we're just getting started with it.
All right. Let's see. Based on consumer search online, based on what consumers search online via voice or search, do we have the capabilities of providing personalized recommendations on wash purchases based on their search history? Mike, I don't even know what that means.
All right. So the question, let me make sure I understand. The question is based on someone's search history. So if they're always searching for, what would they search for? Car wash near me, or they'd search for, something like that. Can we recommend certain packages? Is that the
Yeah,
question?
I believe that's the gist of the question.
Man.
Can we provide personalized recommendations on what wash packages purchased, wash purchases?
I can personalize a message back to them if we are communicating with them directly. The other thing I can do is find the keywords that most people are searching for and guide my advertising to those keywords. So if everybody keeps asking ceramic or protection or something like that, you can use that to guide your advertising campaign. I think I'm understanding the question correctly there.
Hey, Bob.
Yes.
What you can do if you have license plate recognition is you can tailor the packages and offers at the pay station based off the customer's previous purchase history, whether they're existing customer or a new customer. I know we can do that, which is a really cool thing. If you can see when someone comes in, they've been there before, but they've never tried your top package. So you could offer them a discount off your top package right there on the spot.
There's no doubt that video gets more engagements than any other thing on social media and online. I don't know how Google is doing this on photos, but somehow they know when there's a picture of the inside, the outside of your wash and people. So it's a good idea on your profile to have pictures of the building, have pictures inside the wash, and a couple great crew shots, because they're looking to see how well and how diverse and well represented your business is on their site as well.
Hey, Mike, this is why we need you, because none of the rest of us on this page are on TikTok. I guarantee it.
Hey, wait a second. I know TikTok.
We've
Jim's
been
got
doing
teenage daughters.
My two nieces, Molly and Perry, they've been home from school, so I've been putting them to work. We've been doing a contest for monster mask, how to make mask at home, or we're doing coloring contest and how to make slime, all kind of fun stuff.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank the panel for joining us. I think that one was a lot of fun and very informative. And now it's time for the Slam giveaway. Mike, do you want to explain what we're giving away here?
We're giving away a brand strategy package, right? So what this is we'll get on a screen share call and take you through an interactive brand discovery. We're going to ask you all these crazy questions about what your car wash brand is all about. We do also some competition report, and we do demographic study. We take all this information that we gather from this session with you and the research that we do, and we present you back a really nice 20-page document that outlines your brand's mission, vision, and purpose, along with its personality. So we're going to even outline, if your brand was a person, how would they talk, and what would they drive and wear? The other thing we do is we do a customer persona chart. So from those demographics, we're going to outline what the typical personas are of those customers in your marketplace, so that when in the end, we have a full brand strategy that we can give to the Mr. Foamer team, so they can go make a logo that speaks of this brand. And we can give that to the web team, and they can write copy for that brand that is of the brand, if that makes sense. So it's even before you start designing signage and logo, you sort of need to figure out what your brand is. And that's what this package is.
And that retails for how much?
$1,800.
So $1,800 giveaway, and they entrust that stuff to me. You believe that? All right, let's reach into the bag of tricks. And the winner is Grattan Kelly of GK Motorsports. So we'll be getting in touch with Grattan Kelly. And congratulations, you're the winner of the Slam Marketing Prize. All right, I'd like to thank the panel. We'll be back here on Virtual Car Wash Expo shortly, and we're going to go back for our next presentation. Thanks for being here. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.